Welcome! And I'm in my Hugh Hefner outfit, and welcome. We meet again to another freezing cold day in the UK. I'm wrapped up, nice and snugly warm, um, getting ready for the gym. It is day 2 of training, of week block, the strength block, and today is bench, which is probably my all-time favorite movement at the moment, probably because it's going well. It's always like the ones that the movements that you're the best at that you enjoy the most, or at least for me it is. Like, I hate squats, but that's because I suck at them right now. But so today I'm gonna bench. I'm gonna do pull-ups. I'll see if I strict press, and then I'm also gonna do some Cali in the gym. So I have my food here. If you haven't watched one of my videos yet, it is literally the same thing every single day. I don't track macros because I eat the same thing every single day. So this is 50 grams of egg white powder, organic egg white powder with 2 whole eggs, and 20 grams of raisins, 2 bananas, and 50 grams of oats. Mush them all together, put them in the oven for like 40 minutes to an hour, depending on what kind of oven you've got. I've got a convection oven, so it goes a little bit quicker at 200 degrees Celsius. So I cook that, and then I have my post-gym snack, and that's simply because, so this is just 11 grams of protein, and this is literally just because I have to cycle home from gym, and that's about a 40-minute cycle. So this just kind of gives me a little bit of a top up between finishing working out and then getting home. And then when I get home, I've got 5 egg whites, 2 whole eggs, and 150 grams of rice to eat when I get home. So that is the meal so far that I have for today ready for me. I got the rest ready as well, mealed and dished out and ready to eat. And then of course I have this is 5 grams of creatine with 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. It's either lemon juice or apple juice, depending on what I have. Make sure if you get the apple cider, not apple juice, apple cider vinegar. Make sure if you get the apple cider vinegar, it is with the mother. And I learned what the mother actually is. So there's actually sun, you can see it like reflecting on my face. The mother is actually like a bacteria that forms on the top layer of the apple cider vinegar, and it looks like gelatine. It's very weird. But yes, I've been watching, can't think of his name at the moment, Adam Ragusea, I think that's how you pronounce it, on YouTube. Very fascinating stuff. So I actually learned that the mother is the bacteria that grows on the top of your apple cider vinegar. And of course, bacteria, depending on what it is, whether it's a good bacteria or a bad bacteria. If it's a good bacteria, it will obviously help with your gut, and we want all those gut biomes in your gut to help. Gut bacteria is extremely important. That's why I recommend things like sourdough bread, overnight oats, fermented things, like, I'm trying to think, sauerkraut, gherkins. Obviously don't buy them, rather make them yourself if you can, or get ones that haven't been artificially like fermented. Naturally fermented is what you wanted. So it's essentially getting the right bacteria in so that it ferments and gives your gut exactly what it needs, rather than like artificially fermenting it through chemicals and whatnot. But yes, I digress. So this has 5 grams of creatine, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar with the mother in, or 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. I'm just using lemon juice at the moment because I don't have apple cider vinegar, plus 5 grams of greens powder and 5 grams of berries powder. And then I just like down it because I like to get in at least 500 mils of liquid before I train, and then I continue to train to drink whilst I'm training, because remember, you want to be as hydrated as possible, because you are like 70% minimum water. Your body is made up of water. So if your muscles are as hydrated as possible, that will help with your performance, help with recovery, help your muscles to get bigger and more hypertrophied, or expand the muscle tissue whilst you're training. And that's why drinking water whilst you're training is also really important, because remember, you can sweat so much whilst you train, like profusely, and you won't realize how much you sweat because a lot of it evaporates. So you could sweat 1 to 2 liters of water through the pores of your skin within an hour. And if you're not staying hydrated, that's when you can, well, obviously dehydrate. You'll lose electrolytes and things like that. So another thing that I do is, no name brand, let's pretend, I always make sure I'm drinking at least 1.5 liters of water whilst I'm training. And in the water, I put in 3 grams of salt and 1 caffeine tablet. So that's my kind of little cheat. I put in caffeine tablets whilst I'm training, because I do tend to train with mobility for at least 2 hours. So the mobility can take me 30 minutes to 45 minutes to sometimes an hour, depending on what I'm doing and how much I'm procrastinating between the exercises. So at least 2 hours in the gym, so at least 1.5 liters of water, okay? So I will drink that whilst I'm training. The salt helps to replace the electrolytes. And then if I have ECAAs, leucine and things like that, that will obviously help with protein synthesis recovery, because obviously you're breaking down the muscle fibers, the muscular tissues whilst you're training, and you need those to repair and recover as fast as possible. So having ECAAs might help. It's not essential, because as long as you're getting in your protein pre and post, and obviously it doesn't have to be immediately, as long as it's within 4 hours of training pre and post, you're absolutely fine. It's been proven that you don't need to kind of like eat immediately after training in order to maximize results, because your body will use the protein regardless. But just make sure that you're getting in enough protein and enough amino acids to do what they need to do, because a lot of people underestimate how much protein is important, and getting in enough protein. You need, they say about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body weight, at a minimum. So I'm not too sure where I'm at, because I don't know what my poundage is. Good question. Let's figure out what my poundage is. So I don't know what my poundage is. We'll find out together. So pound to kg. So I am 64 kilograms, 141 pounds. So I'm currently eating about 150 grams of protein per day. So I'm slightly over 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. What? Yeah. Okay, so slightly over, so that's absolutely fine. I'm where I should be in terms of maintaining protein synthesis and recovery and whatnot. So you can go higher. If you're cutting, you can go higher, but obviously you don't want to go like at my maximum. I was having 200 grams of protein, which may be slightly high, but when you're cutting and you're trying to maintain muscle mass, and rumor was you had to have at least 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight, but I think that has been proven to be incorrect. As long as you're getting in 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, that is sufficient. And remember, it's lean body weight, so if you're like quite large and you're bulking, don't go on your overall body weight. Obviously go on what you estimate your lean body weight to be. So I'm gonna eat my food. and I got to cycle to gym. So I'll meet you at gym. Hopefully the sun is still out and I'm not freaking freezing my fingers and toes off cycling to gym. Because what I've realized is even though you warm up whilst you're cycling, your fingers and toes aren't moving and they just stay cold and get colder and colder as you cycle. So, not the funnest, fingers and toes whilst you're cycling. But I'm gonna get to gym and I will film at gym. I do have a microphone, so I might pluck up the courage to put it on and speak to you whilst I'm training and explaining a bit whilst I'm training rather than coming back and then explaining what I did whilst I was at gym. But we'll see. I'll surprise myself and decide what I'm going to do. So I'll catch you at the gym for bench, starting with bench today. 4 sets of 4, strength cycle week 2, and we're at it. See you in a bit. So a couple of pointers for bench that I really like to do with my setup is I first like to plant my feet, and this is something that a lot of people do last, and I like to do it relatively first. I plant my feet, make sure that my heels are planted to the floor, nice and tight. Okay, you can walk. Um, no, I don't care. Okay, so then, so that feet are nice and planted, but you can't see. Um, and then I set up my grip. Yes, I have a very wide grip, and that's because I almost pull my bicep. Now, what I like to do here, and you see me swiveling back and forth, and that is me retracting my scapula and getting them as close as possible. This allows me to engage my lats more. So when I press up, okay, my lats are fully engaged, and you almost want to like feel like you're bending the bar, okay, pulling your lats down, and then the bar goes to my sternum, and I use my glutes, engage my feet, my legs, engage my lats, and press the bar up. And those are some of the pointers I use for bench. Really focus on bending that bar and keeping your lats engaged. So that is my warm-up set. Hopefully you can hear all of this, otherwise I'm talking no reason whatsoever. So I'm going to jump straight to 60 kilograms, so 20 aside. Yeah. My hands are quite slippery already, so I am going to chalk. I don't know if you can hear me. This may all be completely pointless. Okay, so chalking hands just a bit. And this is my first kind of warm-up set. Okay, so we're doing 4 reps, working up to working weight, which I will check just now, but 4 reps. Okay, so retract the scapula, really feel it against the bench. Make sure my feet are nice and planted. Big breath in. Solid. Okay. Right, so next working set. I'm just going to check my working weight. So, working weight is? Let's see. Bench press, 4 reps. goal being 97.5 to 100. So let's see how I get on. Okay, right. So that was 60. I'm going to jump to 80. So I'm going to take my shirt off, and that is simply because this shirt is kind of slippery on the bench. You can actually get bench shirts which have like this acrylic kind of suctiony thing on the back, like a print, which helps you to keep stuck to the bench. Otherwise, you can chalk your shoulders, shoulder blades, and your shoulders, or you can chalk the bench. This bench has actually been chalked, so somebody felt the need to chalk. But I'm just gonna take my shirt off because I'm a woman, so I can do it. If you've got a vest, that also helps as a guy. So that's one of the main reasons I actually bench just in the sports bras, so that I can stick to the bench and I don't slip. Right, so that's my second set, 80 kilograms, 4 reps. Nice. Right, so that was 80 kilograms. I'll do 90, just so I can really warm up today, because I felt last week I actually rested a bit. Right. Okay, so again, write everything down, just especially if you're doing strength. If you're doing bodybuilding, it's not as essential. You can just, feel it out on the day. But because I'm doing more of a strength focus, I do like to track all of my numbers. So we're doing 4 bench, and we did 60, 80, we're about to do 90. And I always write the date down and where I'm training. Sometimes, obviously, I train at home. Because when I train at home, I'm not doing that cardio too from the gym. Can affect my strength output, and I can be a little bit stronger sometimes, obviously, Ideally, if you're doing a strength focus, you're not doing cardio before you train, because you want to be as optimally primed for the strength movements. And if you are doing cardio like I'm having to do before training, it will obviously take some of the energy out of your training. But I gotta do what I gotta do. I don't have a car. So next set is 90 for 4. I should probably look at the camera, shouldn't I, when I speak to you? Okay, so I'm going to be doing 90 for 4. Right. Solid. Right, 95. weights. Let me go find the weights. Right, so I've got 97.5 on the bar. Goal is 4 reps. And ideally, my first rep is set. I'm gonna stay there today. Definitely not feeling as strong as last week, so that's okay. So set 1 of 4 on my working weight, which is 97.5. So we're good to go. Right, so 4 sets. So we did 90 and 97.5 is my working weight. So times 4, that's my first working set. Right, so I've got 3 more working sets. Right. So just make sure you set up nicely before each set and breathe before each rep. You don't want to obviously hold your breath for all 4 reps because you're going to gas yourself and probably end up passing out. So just make sure you breathe after every single rep. Make sure that your lungs are as full as possible so that you can really engage your lats fully, because even though it is a bench press, so people assume that the only muscle group working is your bench. Your secondary muscles are your lats and your triceps, and those are stabilizing muscles, but they're also driving muscles. And of course, you're using your legs. I did feel that I was lifting my bum slightly, which isn't ideal and not what you want. So I need to make sure that on this next set, I do not lift my bum, because obviously 1, that's a low rep in powerlifting terms, but 2, obviously that's a technical issue. So the weight is feeling a little heavier. I wish I didn't bring my small biscuits, so like the 0.5s and the 1 kilograms, otherwise I probably would drop it just a little bit, because the weights at the gym literally go up 2.5s. So that's literally my only option is either 95 or 97.5. So I'm going to stick at 97.5. I'm just going to have longer rests between sets. So I'm going to switch off the camera because it's going to be a couple minutes before my next set. Switch back on, because I don't know if this is recording the sound properly. The last thing I want to do is speaking to you and you can't hear anything I'm fucking saying. So I'll see you in a bit. Right, set 2 on the way. Right, see how it goes. Better than the first set, felt stronger. Yeah, definitely happy with that one. There was like those sticky points, felt solid. So I'm gonna do 2 more sets of that. Happy with that. Yeah. Just make sure you know, like, to really engage your lats. Scapula is nice and retracted and keep your lungs full. You know, the fuller that you can keep your lungs on all the power moves, you know, deadlifts, squats, bench, the fuller you can keep that, the more support you naturally get. You know, that's what a bulk does. It's just contracting your abdominal area and giving you that support. And by, you know, filling your lung capacity, that is a natural form of support that your body will use. So just make sure you really control your breathing. You know, the last thing you want is you're not controlling your breathing, you're breathing out when you should be breathing in, and you will lose a lot of power if you breathe out at the bottom of the moment. So never do that. Make sure you hold your breath at least 3/4 of the way out of your driving movement. So you'll notice that I start to breathe out as I'm pressing up. And the same happens when I squat. So just make sure your breathing is controlled, especially for power, okay? And I'm back. I did not film everything with the lapel on because I did not know if it was working or not, and I was like, well, I don't want to film everything, and then I get home and it's just like useless. So I only filmed the bench press with the lapel on, and I checked and it seems to be okay, but I would love your input, so please comment below. Let me know if, one, the sound works for you, and two, if me kind of like explaining everything as I'm going is useful or interesting to you, and I can kind of like tailor it because I'm still kind of figuring out what I want to do, how I want to do it, and I want to obviously make sure that you are happy with the videos primarily. Well, most importantly, because you know the viewer is everything. So after bench, I went and did my pull-ups. So I did body weight for 4 reps. Obviously, we're doing 4 sets of 4. So I did my next set with 25 kilograms, and then I got jumped on by a few of the calisthenics guys, and they were like, no, you know, you're not gonna do 30, which was the original plan. They were like, that was too easy, you gotta do 35. So I did do 35, and admittedly, I will say the last rep got a bit iffy, but it was a lot better than I was anticipating. Like, I was literally at failure on the fourth rep of every set. So that is actually the goal, is to reach that complete failure. And so I just managed to get my chin over the bar on the fourth rep. 4 sets of 4 at 35. Was it 35? Yes. 4 sets of 4 at 35 kilograms with the pull up. So I'm probably going to be putting some of my workout in the introduction that I did before bench, and the rest will be here now whilst I'm chatting to you. So I was really happy with the pull-ups. I managed to really engage my lats, and now that I know the lapel is working, the next time I won't probably chat through my bench so much, but I will chat through how I engage my lats, how I focus on pulling with my back, and the engagements and the cues that I use for pull-ups. Obviously, this is overhand grip, and I find I'm slightly stronger with a shoulder width grip with my pull-ups rather than going too wide, but obviously the wider you go, the harder it gets. And ideally, I probably need to work on going wider and wider, so I'll probably assess, adjust, and tailor accordingly. But I did want to hit that failure, complete failure on the fourth rep, and then take a bit of time to recover and then hit it again. So 4 sets of 4 on 35 kilograms. Freaking happy with that. I was over the moon. Um, it was really cold in the gym today, and I was freezing. I don't know if it's because my body's still recovering, but I am really feeling cold at the moment, and there are people that's walking around and nothing, and I'm just like, how do you do it? How do you stay warm? Because if I'm not exercising, I'm getting cold. Anyway, so I finished the pull-ups. I was really happy with that. My energy levels were at a good level. So then I went on to some skills with the calisthenics, and today I did one-arm pull-ups again. I was really happy with the pull-ups. I'm not too sure if I jumped a little bit or if I was, I didn't literally just hang and then go. I literally did drop hang, uh, drop pull. So obviously I got a little bit higher, but I don't know if I was cheating it slightly. So I haven't watched the footage. I'll probably watch it whilst I'm editing this all together, because it's really late. Because I started late this morning because I had a whole lot of client work to do in the morning. So I'm probably gonna just assess my technique whilst I'm editing this video. So you'll probably see it as I figure this out. So I supersetted my one arm pull-ups with the elastic band. And so I would do pull-ups till failure, which was like 1 to 2, and then I would move to elastic bands for the remainder of the reps. So literally, I didn't add too much resistance with the elastic band. I just wanted enough that I could get another rep or two, with goal being 3 to 4 reps of the one arm pull-ups. And I supersetted that with the planche hold. So doing that again, working on strengthening the shoulder, and getting that the shoulder really, really over the hand as much as possible. Obviously, the further over I can get and the more stable I can get with that counterbalance, the better it will get. So I'm really, really trying to strengthen my shoulder in that position. It's so hard. Like, so much respect to calisthenics people and gymnasts, because it really is such a weak position. And I mean, like, I think I've got strong shoulders. I mean, like, I can handstand walk, and I can do so many things like snatching and cleaning and jerking, but that's more of a lockout, overhead. So there's a lot of kind of like strength occurring because your shoulders are locked out. Whereas when you're in that position, it's remarkably difficult. So I'm trying to strengthen it as many different ways. So it's quite exciting, but it's kind of like, okay, you're getting like 1 inch further, 1 inch further. But it's I'm excited, and it's progress. And so I did 3 sets of those, and then I moved on to a tuck hold, and I superset that with with a front lever hold, and I supersetted that with a frog stance. So I saw it actually today, because usually what happens is I do a frog stance with my knees by my elbows, and I saw someone actually put their knees by their armpits, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. So today I did the front levers, trying to statically hold as much as possible. Whilst my lats recover, I did the frog stance, but with my knees going into my armpits, or as close as I possibly could, because mobility is limited to a certain degree. But I was really, really happy with how that felt. So if you're looking at kind of progressing in these kind of like body weight movements and these static holds, I would recommend starting with the frog stance with your knee like wedged onto your elbow to start, and a slightly bent grip, and then you can position straighter and straighter as you get stronger. So that was something that I experimented with today. I don't know if it will translate to the planche or not, but I thought I would give it a go, and I was relatively happy with how it felt and how stable I felt, and I felt like it would help with the positioning and my body learning the positioning of trying to keep my arms locked out, because that's the problem that I'm feeling, is I tend to not rotate enough and get over. I'm kind of like still there rather than there, if that makes sense to you. Um, but yeah, so I was a lot of experimenting today more than anything else. There wasn't like a clear direction. I just wanted to feel out the body, how it was feeling with these movements, and obviously get stronger in these new positionings. The most important thing for me right now is the primary goals of strength in my compound movements. So my bench, my pull-ups, my dips. That is the primary goal, and that translates not just to strength, but to hypertrophy to a degree. Like I build in a rep range, and anyone can build in a rep range of 3 to 5. Like there was always that belief that hypertrophy and gains only occurred in like 10 to 12 rep range, and that's been proven to be false. Like you can build muscle mass in the lower rep range, and for me, I really feel it if I kind of like push myself to that edge to failure. So I'm building muscle mass and I'm focusing more on the strength aspect of it than necessarily the hypertrophy aspect of getting stronger, getting bigger. Because I've never actually done a pure strength program. I did powerlifting, but and this is like something that I've never really discussed, and maybe I should actually do an entire video on it. I never actually did like a pure powerlifting program. It was kind of like 2 weeks before the powerlifting meet. I was like, okay, maybe I should do some powerlifting training, but I never actually purely dedicated myself to any powerlifting program for any length of time. So this is literally the first time I have ever like set aside entire focus on powerlifting, on getting stronger. And yes, I'm not just doing, bench, deadlift, and squat. I am doing a multitude of different powerlifting or strength elements, because I'm doing the calisthenics elements with the dips and the pull ups and the muscle ups. So it is a more dynamic version of a powerlifting calisthenics kind of program, but the goal is entirely about me getting stronger and me actually seeing what I am capable of, because I've never truly explored that in detail. I've never actually seen what I am capable of and dedicating myself to that strength. So this is what I'm doing. My primary goal is the strength. So I'm excited to see where I can get. Obviously, strength is something that takes time to develop. So I'm probably going to be doing a lot of strength blocks, dedicating the entire year to get my numbers up, seeing what I am capable of. And I hope that you join me to see what you are capable of. Whether you're just going to focus on one lift, whether you're going to focus on the calisthenics lifts, whether you're going to focus on the powerlifting lifts, whatever your goal is, comment below. I would love to know. And, let's get stronger together. Let's explore all these elements together and have some fun, because that's what life's all about. If you're not having a bit of fun, then I don't know. Like, have some goals, have some challenges, have something to distract you from the mundanity of life, and just enjoy yourself. So, I hope you comment below. I would love to hear about your goals, what you think, how you're enjoying my training. I didn't actually cover all of my training. So the one thing I did miss out on was my shoulders. So I did a superset of a front raise with the hollow tuck positioning. So keeping my core engaged, so working my core whilst I did the front raises. And then I supersetted that with tempo side raises. So that is a nice powerlifting, bodybuilding superset to strengthen my shoulders even more for the planche, but obviously that will help with aesthetics as well. if you're trying to isolate your shoulders. And now that I have the lapel, I can actually explain whilst I'm doing the different exercises my goals in the range of motions, my cues for how they feel, and what I try to do with everything. And I would love you to join me and comment below and subscribe and share and yeah, just support me along this road. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, morning, evening, and keep tuned for some more awesome videos. I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a lovely day.